Good morning and welcome to this year's annual VFW Scholarship Awards for the Patriot, Pen, and Voice of Democracy. I also want to give a special good morning to all of the recipients of the annual Patriot, Pen, and Voice of Democracy Awards for the presentations today. It really is a privilege to be amongst this group and help recognize all of our young student scholars. My name is Colonel Retired Frank Curtis. I am now the current commander of the VFW post here in Hingham, and I will serve as your moderator for today's ceremony. Before we start the festivities, I would ask everybody to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. VFW, Taj Hut, present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arms. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and take your seats. So before I introduce our special guest this morning, I do want to take a minute to welcome you to the Hingham's Grand Army of the Republic Hall. Can anybody tell me about the Grand Army of the Republic and its history? You'll be getting a lesson later on, so pay good attention. But in a nutshell, the Grand Army of the Republic was a fraternal organization composed of veterans from the Union Army, Navy, Marines, and the Revenue Cutter who served during the American Civil War. It was founded in 1866 in Illinois and was officially dissolved in 1956 when the last member from the Civil War died. The facility that you see dates to 1888. And at one point in time in Massachusetts, there were approximately 250 GAR halls, Grand Army of the Republic halls. Most of them fell into disrepair. And today, there's only about 9 or 10 left in the state. The beauty of Hingham is they had the foresight to not demolish this building, but to preserve it. And it's currently used, as we speak today, by the American Legion, the VFW, and the Boy Scouts, primarily. And there's other organizations that come in here and use it as well. But it truly is a gem in the town. And so if you haven't had a chance to tour it, I strongly recommend that you do. What I'd like to do before I get into it as well is I'd like to have the VFW members that are in the room either stand or raise your hand so that I can acknowledge you. VFW, I had a conversation a little bit earlier. So what's the difference between the American Legion and the VFW? And a lot of people really don't know. So the American Legion is for people who served in the military during certain specific periods when the country was at some type of conflict. In order to be a member of the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars, you've had to actually have served in combat. So our group is a little bit smaller than the American Legion. Great pride in both organizations, but the VFW, to be a member of the VFW, you are that combat veteran that gave all and willing to give all for the freedoms of this country. So I have with me in the room today Herm Mesmer from the Korean War. Army veteran. Kevin Beck, Navy SEAL from Afghanistan. Ken Walsh is United States Air Force. Desert Storm veteran. Dick Willett in the back of the room somewhere, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. John Noble, Captain, United States Army, Iraq. Art Smith in the back of the room, Vietnam. Dave Irwin in the back of the room, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Are there any other veterans in the room? All right, lady. Oh, I'm sorry. Beverly Payton, United States Navy. And Beverly is one of the catalysts behind this program this year. We did a smooth transition a year ago from Herm to Beverly, and I can say we haven't skipped a beat. But I mentioned Herm Mesmer, and I do want to talk about him for a minute. Herm is the main reason why we are here today, and it's through his efforts that we have such a rich and successful program. When he came on board in 1983 to the VFW, he reinvigorated the Patriot Pen Voice of Democracy program here in the town. And I'm proud to say that through his hard work, we do have one of the strongest programs in the state. So Herm, thank you very much. Give me 1 minute, Herm, and sit down, come up here and sit down if you would. Every year, Herm, for the last several years, undertook this 3-month effort to ensure the success of the program, which in the past 16+ years has benefited almost 500 students in town. Herm is a Korean War combat veteran, and while in Korea, he served in the areas of the harshest conditions, supporting such units as the 7th Marines as well as the 25th Infantry Division. I commented that he joined the post in 1983, and he has not missed in 40+ years anything that benefits the town as well as the VFW. Last year, I talked about it a minute ago, Herm passed the torch off to Beverly. And Beverly, I gotta say, we are all overwhelmed by the work and tireless effort that you have put into the program. Herm, I'm gonna turn it over to you to say a few words at this time.
Okay.
Do you want to come to the mic, or do you want to stand there?
Thank you, Frank. Welcome, folks. I won't spend a lot of time here. I just want to touch on a couple of things. The program that we have at the state in Hingham that you're enjoying today is a national program with the VFW. It's been going on for a number of years. But as it is with organizations in the field like this, people come, people go, and so consequently, they all don't keep going and doing the program. All right. I am proud to say that 14 years ago, when I started as a commander of this post, all right, all of a sudden one day I got a call from a lady teacher. Heather Sullivan, are you here today? Heather, there she is. 14 years ago, she told me and said, hey, I've got all these papers. I said, what? Okay, so it's one of those in desperation type things. So what did I do? I turned around and looked at the guy who I just got the job from and said, hey, Art, there's Art Smith back there. Stand up, Art, say hi, everybody. So we picked up on the organization and the changes that were coming, and the program was starting, and all of a sudden I said, this is a good program. You know, and it affected all the kids in the school system. The parents got involved. I said, this is a good thing. And it makes me very happy to be in this building and look at all the people that have gone through here. Okay, and we still have this program going. So I want to absolutely make sure I emphasize this. Are the winners here today? All the kids winners, stand up. All the kids stand up. Just stand up with us. That's the status today, all right? I'm getting ready to phase out. Beverly has taken over the program this past year. She's done a terrific job, and I see a good future coming up. And I want to emphasize the need for more help and more involvement of everybody, all right? These are tough times for the country. So with that, I'm just going to say, God bless America. Thank you, everybody. Oh, and one other thing. We have another teacher here, a principal that's helped us forever, Dr. Gallo. She's here again. That kind of support, it goes on and on. It's deep, and it's going on forever, I hope. Okay, so with that, I'll turn it back.
Come on over here for a minute. A couple of things. I do want to recognize you I do want to recognize you formally in front of the group before we move on with the program. But I think after all the years that Herm has done this, the decision has been made by the commander, whom I know very well, that moving forward, we are going to call this in Hingham the Herm Mesmer Patriot Pen Voice of Democracy Contest. So that is the new name for the program.
That's great.
We also have a gift for you, Herm.
Okay.
And Beverly, come forward. And what we have to present to Herm is a nautical clock. And on one side of the clock is a clock. And basically tells everybody the time. You can keep it in the box.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right. The first side is a clock that really, because Herm is a stickler to time, he's on time, and he expects everybody else to do the same. And on the other side is a nautical compass. Just because, like all of us in life, we have a tendency to get lost, and we sometimes have to re-find ourselves. And on many occasions, Herm has been the one that's helped a lot of us find ourselves again. So thank you very much, Herm. Well deserved.
Thank you very much.
Right. Go ahead and take that. Now, one more award. For those, I'm going to spill the beans. So those that do not know, Herm is 94 years old. What's even more fitting is that Herm married an older woman. And I'm not going to tell you how old Winnie is because she will take action on me. But we did get, turn to your left, Herm, we got an award for Winnie as well for putting up with you. So, that's for Winnie. I'll share a quick story with you. And this story was, now you know he's 94 years old. Quick story, about 4 years ago. Now, Herm, what I didn't talk about is that he's with the Coast Guard Auxiliary, so he spends a lot of time on the sea, spends a lot of time out in the ocean, he spends a lot of time driving the boats. And I called him up about 4 years ago, and I said, hey, Herm, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm doing the Coast Guard Auxiliary. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, I'm driving all these damn old people over to the island. And I said, okay, how do you process that one? And then the second conversation that stood out in my mind, called him up one day and he was all excited and he said he just bought a new car, 92 years old, all right? So I said, can you be any more of an optimist in life? So anyways, thank you very much.
Okay.
So, thank you. Thank you so much. You can take that. You can go ahead and take a seat. All right, a few other people I'd like to recognize. The superintendent of the Hingham Schools is Dr. Margaret Adams. She's not present with us today. She had another family commitment, but I did want to acknowledge her. However, we do have Dr. Dorothy Gallo, the former superintendent of schools here in Hingham. I also want to recognize Lisa Fasano. Lisa, it will not be here today. She had another commitment. Liz Klein, who's the chairperson of the Select Board. And Liz, you will assist with the awards presentations, please. Also, school teachers in the room and these are the tireless workers, the people behind the scenes, the people that push the ball down the road, the people that make things happen. I want to acknowledge, Mary Andrews and Matt Dwyer from the middle school. Mary Andrews could not make it, and Matt Dwyer could not make it as well. We talked about Heather Sullivan. Heather Sullivan has been a mainstay, a catalyst, a driving force, and a friend to the VFW. So thank you, Heather. Ashley Stedman, is she in the room? Ashley, good morning. Thank you very much for everything that you've done. Christina O'Connor at the high school, she is not present today, we're aware of that. Maggie Clark, is Maggie? Maggie, thank you very much. Maggie is over at St. Paul's School, and she's been with this program, got to be 15, 16 years, thereabouts, if not more. And then Holly Breen, and I don't know if she's in attendance today, but she was another catalyst that I also wanted to recognize. I also want to thank the judges. Now, we try to keep the judges anonymous. So let me tell you a little bit about the depth of this program. First of all, before I get into that, Paula Delaney was one of the judges this year. So when you take a look at the level of involvement, Paula had a 33-year teaching career, including principal and culminating as the superintendent of the Hull Public Schools. And she was one of the judges. And I had a quick conversation with her a little while ago, and I said, how many did you look at? How many awards? And she said, oh, I had to go through about 44 of them. And that's only one judge. So the fact that we have that many students participating really is a testament to the teachers in this room. And I say teachers in this room, that's from the superintendent right on down. Dr. Gallo was instrumental in this program, and the fact that she is now retired and she returns every year, that tells you, that speaks volumes of the type of people that we have supporting this program. I'm going to move on, and I do want to introduce our keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker is Commander Kevin Beck, United States Navy retired. He served for nearly 27 years, retiring in July 2010. Commander Beck enlisted in the Navy in the Delayed Entry Program back in 1983. Following graduation from high school in 1984, he began a career as a naval cryptologist, serving and qualifying in submarines, surface ships, parachuting, and the U.S. Navy SEAL teams. Following Commander Beck's retirement from the U.S. Navy, he served as a senior Globe sales and marketing representative for Boeing Company. In June of 2019, Commander Beck returned to Hull, and he currently serves as the senior vice commander for the Hingham Post. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce Commander Beck, our keynote speaker, who will make some comments today. Commander Beck.
Good morning. Thank you, Frank. I'd like to first say good morning to the parents, children, town and school officials, my fellow VFW members, and other associated guests. I'm going to repeat a couple things that Frank already mentioned, but just please bear with me. This morning we come together in the Grand Army of the Republic Hall here in Hingham, which was dedicated in 1888. As Frank mentioned, some of you might be asking, what is the GAR? The GAR, the Grand Army of the Republic, was founded on April 6th of 1866 on the principles of fraternity, charity, and loyalty in Decatur, Illinois, by Dr. Benjamin Stevenson. It was a fraternal organization composed of veterans of the Union Army, which of course is now the United States Army, the Union Navy, the U.S. Navy, and the Marines who served in the American Civil War. It was founded in 1866 in Decatur, Illinois, and grew to include hundreds of posts, local community units across the North and the West. It was dissolved in 1956 at the death of its last member, Albert Wilson, who was from Minnesota and lived to be 109 years old. This building and its associated GAR post was established in 1869 as the Edwin Humphrey Post of the Grand Army of the Republic in Hingham. It was organized and named after a Hingham man who died on the first day of the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863. A little interesting fact of this GAR. Everybody knows the Loring Hall. Before the Loring Hall opened in 1912, silent films were shown here at the GAR. Years later, the building was known as the Major Edward B. Cole American Legion Post 120, named for a Hingham resident who served during World War I. That's Major Cole right over my shoulder. The Veterans of Foreign Wars traces its root back to 1899, when veterans of the Spanish-American War, 1898, and the Philippine Insurrection, 1899 to 1902, founded local organizations to secure rights and benefits for their service. Many arrived home wounded or sick. There was no medical care or veterans pension for them, and they were left to care for themselves. In their misery, some of these veterans banded together and formed organizations that would eventually band together and become known as the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States. After chapters were formed in Ohio, Colorado, and Pennsylvania, the movement quickly gained momentum. Today, membership stands at more than 1.4 million members of the VFW and its auxiliary. Our voice as the VFW was instrumental in establishing the Veterans Administration, development of the National Cemetery System, for instance, the cemetery down in Bourne, Mass., in the fight for compensation for Vietnam vets exposed to Agent Orange, and for veterans diagnosed with Gulf War syndrome. In 2008, we won a long-fought victory with the passing of a GI Bill for the 21st century, giving expanded educational benefits to America's active duty service members and members of the Guard and Reserves fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan. We were the driving force behind the Veterans Access and Accountability Act of 2014 and continually fight for improved VA medical center services for women veterans. The VFW's legislative advocacy efforts were also the driving force behind the passage of the 2019 Blue Water Navy Veteran Act and the recently passage of the 2022 Honoring Our Pact Act, which the VFW considers one of the most significant pieces of veterans legislation in history. Besides helping fund the creation of the Vietnam, Korean War, World War II, and Women in Military Service Memorials, in 2005, the VFW became the first veterans organization to contribute to building the new Disabled Veterans for Life Memorial, which opened in November of 2010. And in 2015, we became the first supporter of the Desert Storm and Desert Shield Memorial, which broke ground in July of 2022. We have many programs and services that work to support veterans, service members and their families, as well as communities worldwide. There's a little interesting story of the Hingham VFW. The first musters of members of Hingham was on February 21st, 1930. And back then, the post was known as the Hull Hingham VFW Post 1787. If you've ever driven into Hull, as soon as you go over the bridge, and you end up on the rock called Hull, and you look off to your left, you'll see a big gray building with an American flagpole right in front. That was the old Hull Hingham Post 1787. In 1985, Hingham VFW members came out on their own and established their own post known as the William R. Cutler Post 6053. Earlier this year, Hull Post 1787 was disestablished, and remaining members have now consolidated with Hingham, with I being the last commander. So now, as in the old days, it was the Hull Hingham, now it's the Hingham Hull Post 6053. What are the essay programs? Established in 1947, our Voice of Democracy audio essay program provides high school students with the unique opportunity to express themselves in regards to a democratic and patriotic themed recorded essay. Each year, nearly 25,000 9th through 12th grade students from across the country enter to win their share of more than $1 million in educational scholarships and incentives awarded through the program. The national first place winner receives a $35,000 scholarship paid directly to the recipient's American university, college, or vocational technical school. Other national scholarships range from $1,000 to $21,000, and the first place winner from each VFW department, which is the state level, wins at least a scholarship of $1,000. The Voice of Democracy 2023-24 theme is, what are the greatest attributes of our democracy? Patriot's Pen. Each year, nearly 68,800 students in 6th through 8th grades enter the VFW Patriot's Pen Youth Essay Contest for a chance to win their share of nearly $1 million in state and national awards. Each first place state winner receives a minimum of $500 at the national level, and the national first place winner wins $5,000. The essay contest encourages young minds to examine Americans' history, along with their own experiences in modern American society, by drafting a 300 to 400-word essay expressing their views based on a patriotic theme chosen by the VFW commander in each year. The 2023-24 theme is, how are you inspired by America? I would like to personally thank and congratulate this year's essay winners, and I'd like to say it has been my pleasure to speak with you this morning. I would like to wish each of you a wonderful day, and in closing, Navy beat Army.
He can say Navy beat Army, but I will tell you, I spent 32 years wearing the Army uniform, so what he just told you was absolutely not going to happen. All right, so now we get to the good part. We get to the awards presentation. And this is probably, for all of us in the room, the most rewarding part of the program. And that's introducing our Patriot Pen and Voice of Democracy recipients. As Commander Beck referred to, this is where our young students examine America's history, expressing their views based on patriotic themes chosen by the VFW Commander-in-Chief. This year's Patriot Pen theme is, How are you inspired by America? And the Voice of Democracy theme is, what are the greatest attributes of our democracy? I commented a little while ago about the amount of essays that, one judge had to look at. And I can say once again that this year's essays were very competitive. So the students that are about to be recognized are truly worthy of this award. But before we recognize the students, I want to recognize the people that are the driving force behind these successful students. So I'm going to ask the parents and even the grandparents, if you're here today, to please stand so we can recognize you. Thank you, parents, for all that you do. It's an ungrateful job, but it's also one of the most rewarding jobs. And trust me, I know, because I have a daughter and 2 granddaughters, so I couldn't get a boy to save my life. So the Patriot Pen contest, a little highlight, it's for the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students, and it gives them the opportunity to express their opinion on a patriotic theme. But more importantly, we're looking for them to improve their writing skills, all right, and develop those skills that'll help guide them moving on in life. On the Voice of Democracy Scholarship Competition, it provides high school freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors the opportunity to write and record an audio essay on a patriotic theme. And then what happens is they get recognized, they get chosen at this level, at the post level, and then it goes to the district level, then it goes to the state level, and then from the state level, it goes to a national competition. And the winning student each year receives, don't hold me to this, but it's either $35,000 towards a scholarship or $50,000 towards a scholarship. So the ones that win today, that won for the town, again, you'll be competing against the district, the state, and then national. And I think a couple of years ago, we actually had a student that went all the way to national. I apologize for that. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring our recipients up before us. So I would ask Dr. Gallo and Chairperson Klein, please come forward. And as I read, yeah, come right up here. Beverly, come over and join me. What's that? Okay. All right. So let's begin this. Before I do that, I want to make sure I'm doing it in the right order, because I will be called out. All right, so I would ask Parker Bradle from the Hingham High School, please come forward. And Parker is a junior at the high school, and outside of school, he enjoys sailing, playing the saxophone, and basketball. His favorite subjects are English, history, and French. And one day, Parker hopes to write a novel. He chose to write the essay to one of the veterans in his family who served.
Thank you.
Congratulations. The next one I'd like to bring up is Clara Reeve. Come up. A little bit about her. Clara is a junior at the Hingham High School. She is the Community Service Committee Chair of the Student Council, plays the flute, and is on the varsity volleyball team. Clara is interested in exploring a career in biomedical engineering, and she interns during the summer with MASA, which is a local company that develops electroacoustic sonar technology for the Navy. She entered this essay contest to express optimism about the future and to honor those who serve democracy in all different ways. Congratulations. Next, I'd like to bring up Lily McCarthy. Lily is a junior at the high school who enjoys participating in her school's unified basketball program and working at the town library. Outside of school, she enjoys spending time with her dog Sadie and hopes to become a nurse after graduation in college. Lily chose to participate in the Voice of Democracy essay contest because she believes American democracy is a unique and often underappreciated aspect of our daily life. Thank you, Lily. We'll stand right behind the table, okay? Yeah, we'll stand right behind the table. There we go. All right. Moving on, I want to bring up Aylin Powell. Aylin is in the 6th grade at the Hingham Middle School. She participates in numerous activities, including basketball, volleyball, and theater. She loves to bake and is regularly making her sister cookies, cupcakes, and sweet treats. She is also an avid reader and hopes to be a famous author one day. Aylin wrote this essay in honor of her grandfather and great-grandfather who served in the U.S. Army and the Navy, respectively. Her grandfather was a Purple Heart and Bronze Star recipient who participated in the D-Day invasion and the Battle of the Bulge. Wow. So congratulations to you, Aylin. Next, I'd like to bring up Rex Chen. Come on up, son. Rex is in the 8th grade at the middle school. In his free time, he enjoys playing basketball, soccer, and drawing. His favorite subject is English, and he hopes to become an architect when he grows up. He chose to participate in the Patriot Pen essay contest because he thought it was a great way to thank and honor military members and veterans. Thank you, Rex. Congratulations. Next, I'd like to bring up Carolyn Prone. Goes by the name of Coco. Coco was an 8th grade student at the Hingham Middle School as well. Outside of school, she enjoys drawing, listening to music, traveling, and spending time with her friends. Her favorite subjects are history, civics, English, and art. When Coco grows up, she looks forward to studying more about the ocean and marine biology. Her inspiration for writing the essay was her growing awareness of the Constitution and the privileges that we all have. She is grateful to her many family members who have served in the military, including her grandfather and her cousin. Congratulations. Next, I would like to bring up Grace Byrne. Grace is in the 7th grade at St. Paul's. She has one older sister, Riley, and 2 dogs, Harry and Millie. She loves to dance and is on a competitive team at Project 31 Dance Studio. She plays in the basketball team as well at St. Paul's. In her free time, she loves to hang out with her friends, go shopping, and watch Christmas movies. Congratulations, honey. Clara Bailey was also scheduled to receive an award today, but she had another family commitment and could not make it. But I did want to acknowledge her and all the work that she put into this year's Patriot Pen Voice of Democracy. And lastly, I want to introduce Patrick DeGran. Patrick, come on up, please. Good. I got a bio on you here somewhere, and I apologize for that. But I do want to read it. Tell us about yourself. You know, this is on me. I wrote it down, and of course, when I printed it out, I didn't proofread my own work. So I'm going to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot for the right reasons. Because I want you to tell us about you from the heart and why you participated in this program and what did you get out of it. Come on up here. Relax.
So, a little bit about myself. I play on the basketball team for St. Paul's. I also do swimming. The youngest of 4. I have a dog. And I really felt inspired because my uncle is in the Navy, and I just really, it really touched to me, so.
Thank you very much. And of course, once he was done talking, I found my notes. So I will add that he enjoys basketball, swimming, and playing video games with his siblings and friends. So you didn't realize we were going to work on your presentation skills today as well. So ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for all of our participants. Before we close, I want to thank all of the volunteers who helped make this day so successful, and a special thank you to Beverly Payton in the back of the room. She did an outstanding job working with Herm to see that the program was once again a huge success. Beverly, you can relax now, and we got another year before we start this again. Lastly, and probably most importantly, I want to thank the families, and thank you very much for what you're doing, and thank you very much for your participation. It truly is an honor for me to be in the same room with so many loyal and patriotic Americans. I wish everybody in this room nothing but the best that life has to offer. So that concludes today's ceremony. Feel free to come up and get pictures, take pictures. Feel free to walk around the hall. And once again, thank you very much for all of your efforts. Thank you.